How do you fight it?
And well, this notion
I think I could kick most of their ass. I do think that if they wanted to. I know I can outrun them, but I don't know if we're going to fall into that place where we want to. Okay, we challenge you to a WWE fight here type of thing.
No, but it's a natural reaction. I think it's one of the reasons we're losing so many men. And again, it's multi-ethnic. It's not just white men. We're losing them. We're losing them to these guys online. We're losing them people that I'm bringing on this podcast as well. That's why I brought.
These are bad guys, though. These are bad guys.
But they exist, and we could deny they exist.
It's easy to get under Donald Trump's skin, but some Democrats take it a step further by living rent-free in his mind. Governor Tim Walz seems to be doing just that right now. Not only is Trump constantly talking and tweeting about him, but he's now threatening him, which seems to be a standard tactic of this administration. What's even crazier is that Trump has now wished violence upon Walz. The meltdown he had on a conservative podcast is unbelievable. We're going to dive into that. But first, if you could quickly leave a like on this video and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, it would mean a lot to me. Now, there are several reasons why Trump is so upset with Tim Walz, but I want to play two clips that I believe triggered his violent remarks. These two clips right here.
Have they figured it out that the identity piece of this is more important than the actual substance behind it?
Well, they've been doing it for decades. I mean, we've saw the welfare queens. They've seen the Southern strategy. We've seen it over and over. It's an old playbook, and we're as dumb as we want to be that we allow them to do this with CRT and ESG and DEI and every three-letter word.
And then they demonize people.
Yeah, demonize, and they weaponize grievance. They other people. They talk down to people, past people. They humiliate people. They weaponize difficult issues. But the bottom line is, and I think it goes back to what we began with, is, and I applaud you for this, is we cannot continue to be on the defense reacting to this. We've got to go on the offense. We got to meet people where they are. But I also think this, and this is where, this is part of the conversation I'm trying to have, is you got to respect people you disagree with, and you can't just dismiss people.
How do you fight it?
And well, this notion
I think I could kick most of their ass. I do think that if they wanted to. I know I can outrun them, but I don't know if we're going to fall into that place where we want to. Okay, we challenge you to a WWE fight here type of thing.
But it's a natural reaction. I think it's one of the reasons we're losing so many men. And again, it's multi-ethnic. It's not just white men. We're losing them. We're losing them to these guys online. We're losing them people that I'm bringing on this podcast as well. That's why I brought.
These are bad guys, though. These are bad guys.
But they exist, and we could deny they exist. They exist. Not only they exist, they persist, and they're actually influencing young kids every single day.
How do we push some of those guys back under a rock?
I think we have to first understand what their motivations are. I think we have to understand what they're actually doing. And
you don't think that's racism and misogyny?
I think there's a lot of that, but I don't think it's exclusively that. When you talk to a guy like Steve Bannon, he talks about working folks, and he talks about how we hollowed out the industrial core of this country. I understand that. But so we can dismiss the notion of election denialism. We could completely dismiss what he did on January 6th, but I don't think you can dismiss what he's saying. Reminds me a lot of what Bernie Sanders was saying. Reminds me a lot of what Democrats said.
I'm going Friday, I think. I'm headed to Iowa. I'm going to go do it. I've been asked by these folks if it works. I'm going to go use the platform that I have and hand them the megaphone to talk about this. I wouldn't do those town halls if I were them either, because they have to defend cutting Medicare, cutting Medicaid, hurting their local public school, fighting a trade war with Canada, just the nonsense and defending President Musk. So I lived through these in 2010 when the Tea Party was there, and they're telling them that these are outside agitators. I heard a few Democrats in 2010 try and say, oh, don't worry about it, these are outside agitators. They were not. They were my neighbors. Right. And they were mad and confused about what was going to happen. Now, did the Republicans gin those up? Yeah, they threw fuel on that fire. I'm going to go out there and make sure that those folks down in Iowa know that their rep doesn't want to come talk to him, but he voted for this stuff. He voted to defund these things. He voted to make it impossible to talk to the VA and cut 70,000 people to care for our veterans. By the way, many of those 70,000 veterans themselves. So I think, again, this is us going out and talking to people, making the case that people are absolutely clear that both parties are not the same. One stands with Elon Musk, the billionaires, and the dismantling of America as we know it, and one that's going to be there for their families. And if we're not out there, Donald Trump, all the podcasts, all the money will fill that void. So yeah, I'm going. And if they ask, I'll go. And look, I hope people show up at that town hall and say, look, Governor, what are you offering? Are you offering anything better? That's fair. But not to turn your back and not do it, it's dangerous.
It's clear that Donald Trump is furious about Tim Walz highlighting his attacks on Social Security, Medicaid, and the damage Elon Musk is doing to important government institutions and agencies. This is clearly enraging him. However, I think what really set him off was Walz's statement, which I also believe that he could probably beat most of Trump's supporters in a fight. In an interview with Clay Travis of Outkick, a conservative sports media outlet, Trump reacted to Walz's comment in a way that was pretty shocking.
You saw Tim Walz. I know you talked about Tim Walz saying he could beat up Trump supporters. Did you see Caitlyn Jenner said that she thought she would be able to take him? Who would you take in a battle, Caitlyn Jenner or Tim Walz?
Caitlyn all day long, but I also have, Kane.
Yeah.
How about Kane?
Oh, Glenn is an awesome guy. He challenged him. I put up 10 grand for that too. And the challenge is, I don't think Tim Walz has responded
By
yet.
the way, that wouldn't last a second. He's like 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
He's the biggest human being.
He's an awesome guy.
He's a great guy too. He's a mayor of a town and he's all MAGA.
Donald Trump wants to see Tim Walz thrown into the ring with some retired extreme MAGA wrestler and get beaten up. Now, I know some conservatives might clip this and say, oh, the left thinks Tim Walz should beat up MAGA. But Trump can't deny that Walz made the claim himself. He said he could probably take on most of Trump's supporters, which is a fair assessment of these so-called alpha males, who are really just misogynistic figures in the MAGA movement. Unfortunately, this represents a large portion of Trump's base, particularly among young men in my generation. What Trump is suggesting is that he'd like to see that fight happen. And coming from someone who incited a violent mob to storm the Capitol, we should probably take his threats more seriously than Walz's joke about how many losers are in Trump's cult of personality. There's a major difference between the two, but as I mentioned, this isn't the only threat Trump has made toward Walz. His most recent one is probably the dumbest yet, though that's a low bar. Let's take a look at it and offer a bit of commentary.
I don't know if you saw this. Tim Walz is now saying about Trump supporters, and forgive me, I'm just reading a quote from Tim Walz, I think I could kick most of their ass.
Oh boy, he'd be in trouble.
Is there any way to know?
Well, he's a loser. The guy's a loser. He lost an election. He played a part. Usually a vice president doesn't play a part, they say. I think Tim played a part. I think he was so bad that he hurt her. But she hurt herself, and Joe hurt them both. They didn't have a great group, but I would probably put him at the bottom of the group.
Have you heard that Biden wants to get back involved for Democratic politicians, fundraising and campaigning against your policies? What do you think of that?
I hope so.
I think it's important to highlight, and I say this with respect for Vice President Harris, that Tim Walz was the only person with a positive approval rating on either ticket in the presidential race. Tim Walz had around a +5 approval rating. People genuinely like him. So this argument from MAGA that he's some kind of Democratic loser who got rejected at the ballot box instead of being a victim of misinformation that led people to vote for Donald Trump is simply absurd. People like Tim Walz. That's why he's out there on the campaign trail, drawing huge crowds and connecting with Republican voters. He's a regular guy who, with a small Democratic majority in his state, passed some of the most significant and progressive legislation we've seen from any Democratic state. So yes, people like Tim Walz. They like the leader who wants to feed kids, protect parental leave, and hold corporations accountable, all while running one of the best business environments in the country. Tim Walz is skilled at this. Donald Trump is not. I don't know how anyone can argue that Trump is the one with the bad approval rating when his own Republican members of Congress are avoiding town halls because of how unpopular he's become. Recently, we've seen major efforts from Democrats, including AOC and Tim Walz, speaking out against Republicans in their own districts. Additionally, Greg Kazar, a friend of the show, was with AOC. And as the leader of the Progressive Caucus in the House, he announced that he's sending House progressives to Republican districts. With that in mind, let's take a look at a clip of Greg on the road.
We are not going to let them get away with this. We are not. If these puppet politicians want to represent billionaires instead of the people, then they should lose their jobs in the people's house. So they may not want to have the town hall, but we're having it here. Let's talk about what they don't want to talk about, starting with Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. You can understand the whole Doge scam with just two numbers. First number, $8 million a day. Elon Musk gets in government contracts $8 million a day for himself. The second number is $65 a day. $65 a day is how much a senior who's worked their entire life gets to survive on Social Security. $8 million a day, $65 a day. If they were looking for efficiency, wouldn't they look into Musk's billions of dollars, or the billions of dollars Big Pharma milks from the taxpayers, or the billions of dollars that Big Tech screws us out of? They don't want to look into that because those corporations fund their campaigns. That's not right. It's not right. They want to come after programs for working people. They get their $8 million a day while they try to cut food stamps for the working class. While Elon Musk makes his $8 million a day in government contracts, he's coming after your grandma's $65 a day. While Musk gets his $8 million a day, he's trying to shut down the Department of Education, trying to shut down the Department of Labor. Musk wants you to work more hours to make him more rich. Musk wants you to pay more taxes to make him more rich. Tucson, I've had enough of this. It's time to say, fire Elon Musk. Fire who? Fire who? Don't fire public school teachers. Fire who? Don't fire nurses. Fire who? Don't fire our veterans. Fire who? Fire who? Well, it's time to talk about how we're going to do it, Tucson. You see, there's this debate happening in Washington, D.C. right now about how we should respond to the oligarchy. There are those, a general strike would be pretty good. I heard that at our town hall. There are those who say that politicians of conscience should just roll over and play dead. That's their words. And then there's those that say we should stand and fight. Anybody here think we should roll over and play dead? Anybody? No, roll over, play dead people over here, over there? Well, Bernie Sanders is here to stand and fight. AOC is here to stand and fight. I hear some people are ready to stand and fight. Say it with me. Stand and fight. Stand and fight.
I really believe Greg Kazar is an underrated fighter and voice, and we saw that during his appearance on Fox. I loved how he called out Elon Musk when Fox hosts tried to claim that no one was as smart as Elon. Greg Kazar responded with, well, actually, no one has ever donated $250 million to someone's campaign, so maybe that's why Trump keeps him around. Not because he's smart, which he's not. Greg Kazar is fantastic, and I truly admire the work he's doing. That's why we're going to keep bringing him on this show. We're excited to have him here, and we want to continue using this platform to amplify voices like his and other Democrats. If you support that, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and if you've made it to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.